The stories in Genesis are connected to the promise God made to Abraham regarding creating a great nation from him. The promise includes land, descendants, and blessing. Yet fulfillment of that promise, of each of those aspects, can reemerge throughout the stories of Abraham's life. So Sarah was barren, so Abraham had a son through her handmaiden. Sarah then conceives near the end of her life, giving birth to Isaac and casting off Hagar and her son Ishmael. Then we encounter the binding of Isaac, which threatens not only Isaac's life, but the fulfillment of the lineage. After Sarah's death, Abraham takes another wife and has 6 more children through her. Yet Isaac's wife, Rebekah, remains barren. Isaac prays for his wife, and God hears his prayers, and Rebekah conceives. But the pregnancy is difficult. Within her womb, Rebekah has twins who struggle early in life with one another. When Rebekah asks God, "Why do I live?" the answer she hears is that she has 2 nations in which will be divided. Rebekah gives birth to Esau, with Jacob holding on to Esau's heel, which means he was right there as soon as Esau was. The twins are as different as can be. Esau is hairy, outdoorsy, and skilled hunter. And he's also a farmer linked to Eden, while Jacob had smooth skin, preferred staying inside, cooking and thinking, and we credit him with Israel's history. Isaac's favorite son was Esau, while Rebekah's favorite was Jacob. Jacob is said to be the trickster, the schemer, and the conniver, who was a bit of a heel, which we'll see in this chapter, as he convinces his brother to trade his birthright or inheritance for a bowl of soup. Yet it is Rebekah's tricks that gain him his father's blessing in chapter 27. The custom was that 66% of the inheritance went to the firstborn son, while 34% went to the second son. While that may seem appropriate to some, Rebekah and Jacob saw that as very unfair in the case of twin births, which were within minutes of each other. The birthright appears to be far more important to Jacob than it was to Esau. Maybe Esau took it for granted or didn't understand its value. We see children all the time around us who trade toys with friends without realizing the difference in price. While we may think we would never do that, many of us claim to value our health, regardless of the cost. Yet, many of us choose the dessert we want over our health on a regular basis. Immediate gratification often is valued more than long-term benefit. So Esau gave up 66% of his inheritance for a bowl of soup. Jacob is much like us. He wants what isn't his and goes after it. Even that isn't enough for Rebekah and Jacob. Jacob tricks his old blind father into giving him the family blessing. And we could say, God's blessing. To rephrase the story, Jacob was determined not to shut out God's blessing. Isn't that something we all want? Throughout the Old Testament, we see God being on the underdog side, having a special place with the youngest, or the powerless, or even those gray characters, shady ones, God values those whom others discount or fail to value. And there's a bit of Jacob in all of us. Isn't it good to know God cares about Jacob, which means God cares about you and me and everyone else. And isn't that a blessing?